base our discussion there today?
Morning. So yung WR, we conducted a survey from June 9 to 16 of around 1,400 qualified voters. No, this is a face-to-face nationwide interview, and one of the questions that we asked is who they would vote for president if the 2028 elections were held today. So we included 6 names, and those the top emerging candidate is Vice President Sara Duterte, who received around 39%, almost 40%, no, of the votes, and the next candidate is Leni Robredo. So there's around a 20-point gap between Sara Duterte and Leni Robredo. No, she received also a double-digit rating. No, so that's she has around 20%. These are the 2 candidates who are the biggest gainers, and then Raffy Tulfo came in third. Medyo bumaba siya by 4 points. No, they used to be Leni Robredo and Raffy Tulfo used to be tied. No? And then you have other candidates. For instance, Senator Bongo, who received a rating of around 3%, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
no?
3.6.
3.6, and then the other candidates include si Bam Aquino as well as Risa Ontiveros, who received around 2% each.
Okay.
So these are the potential contenders for 2028. Of course, only Vice President Sara Duterte announced her candidacy for president, and then the rest did not announce yet. But you can see, malaki yung sizable number ng hindi pa sigurado. So all of the candidates, around 17% yan eh. All of the candidates will benefit from gaining the support of the undecided. So we think that things can still change. Pwede umakyat si VP Sara, pwedeng umakyat yung ibang kandidato. Yeah.
My follow-up question lang there, Robin, is you conducted the survey from June 9 to June 16. Hindi pa nag-umpisa yung impeachment noon?
Well, hindi pa nagsisimula
Yung trial, sa Senate, yes.
But all of the discussions in Congress have already been concluded. In fact, around May, it was transmitted to the Senate. So all of the Committee on Justice discussions have just been concluded, which is also partly televised.
Okay.
So ito na nga, Robin, even before naman magsimula sa Senate yung impeachment trial ni VP Sara, no, matagal na usapan yan. Parang it's even been a year na talagang may dumudurog na sa pangalan ni VP Sara, whether some critics call it political persecution or whatever narrative. Pero, hindi ka ba nagulat? Ikaw, you've been doing this is your expertise. Hindi ka ba nagulat na parang hindi natibag yung pangalan ni VP Sara? And I'm just curious, kahit na ganito napakaraming nangyayari around her, what could have been the variables? Bakit hindi natitinag yung kanyang pangalan bilang forerunner for the presidential?
Good question, Ricky. In fact, we even saw an increase pa kay Vice President Sara Duterte by around 3 points, if I'm not mistaken, dito.
So there's an increase pa?
There's an increase pa, from the last round, which we published in March, and even compared with the last round pa that we published in November. So I think there's an upward momentum for Vice President Sara Duterte. And sabi mo nga, tama ka, medyo stable yung numbers si Sara Duterte at around 30+%, mid-30s, which is a respectable number, if you want to run for president. The other issue there, actually, hindi ko alam kung pinatala ko sa iyo yung buong report ni Ricky. It's a 90-page report. Pero meron kaming tinatawag na factional partisanship na data. Minimeasure namin ilan ng tao na nag-identify as pro-Duterte, ilan ng tao nag-identify as pro-Marcos, at ilan ng liberal progressives, at ilan yung hindi nag-align sa any of those factions. We also saw a concomitant increase doon. It also increased doon sa number of tao na nag-identify as pro-Duterte. So, palagay ko, nagko-correlate yung increase ng faction, ng base ng Duterte faction, as well as yung increase ng number ni Sara Duterte. In fact, mas slightly higher pa yung number ni Sara Duterte doon sa faction ng 37%. So, kasi 39% siya ngayon, 37%. So, ibig sabihin, meron din siya nako-convince na ibang mga hindi sigurado. Kahit pa paano, umakyat siya doon sa ganyang sa number na yan, nakakuha siya ng konti. Dati kasi nakasda sa 20% yung hindi sigurado. Mukhang nag-disperse towards her favor. But yeah, mukhang resilient ang numbers ni Vice President Sara Duterte at ang buong factional base ng Duterte
Na
factor.
Duterte. Oo.
I was just wondering also, Robin, ito nga, no, sabi mo nga 39.4, mataas ito. And of course, during the last presidential election, si VP Sara garnered about 33 million votes. No? Would you say, based on this, she can still achieve that number? Kasi it's the highest number of votes. She even got more than PBBM. So, kung may snap elections ngayon, are we seeing the same number? She can still garner 33 million votes? Or do you see an increase or a decrease? I was just wondering.
Well, potentially. If disaggregate natin yung numbers, actually, ang lakas talaga sa Mindanao, no? 90%. And 80 to 90% yung support sa Mindanao. And ang nakita din natin na yung Central Visayas mukhang buo din, no? So ito yung Bohol and Cebu. And then competitive siya sa NCR and Metro Manila. Ang point ko is geographically, yung bumoto sa kanya dati.
Riley, why don't I go first? Wait, last time Zoe pushed me
Sa kanya dati, mukhang nandyan pa rin, mukhang intact. And so, yeah, it's something that we can expect moving forward for Vice President Sara Duterte. In fact, ang isa pa nating, if you disaggregate pa, unpack mo yung data, ang isa mo rin makikita ay doon sa age group, no? So, yung age group, kasi ang working hypothesis ng maraming tao after the 2025 election is nanalo sila Bam and si Kiko dahil sa youth vote.
Yeah.
But if you look at our data, actually 40% of the Gen Zs and around also 40% of millennials and Gen X are pro-Duterte, are going to vote for the Dutertes. Yeah, so you need to see the whole report. And we've been
Really?
saying that. We've been bashed. Yes.
Oo.
We've been bashed
Oo.
for that. But we're basically just unpacking the data. Ibig sabihin lang, i-conclude ko lang po, ang ibig sabihin po is there are other variables. It's not age. It's not the youth as the main demographic variable that enables the electoral victory of the others. Although ang ganda nung na-achieve nila, no? Sila Bam particularly, number 2, which is unexpected for many people. Hindi age yung main determinant. It could be other things. So kailangan pa natin ng social scientific investigation to test all the other hypotheses. Di ba pagka nag-aaral ka, pag may thesis, you test hypothesis
Yeah.
May null hypothesis, merong tamang positive hypothesis. Yung age, very interesting.
I just follow up lang kasi you mentioned nga 90% Mindanao. Talagang balwarte talaga ng mga Duterte. Doon sa 1,400 respondents, paano nyo yan kinalat? All over the Philippines, all regions? As in, yung 1,400, there are 13 regions? So, was it how did you spread
So
it?
we use all the gold standard of surveys, yung method naman yan, is we mirror the census.
Okay.
Ibig sabihin, it has to be representative of the actual population of the Philippines. So for instance, in Mindanao, there are around how many votes? So Mindanao represents 23% of all of the votes, no? And then another 21% for Visayas. So if yung Central Visayas, let's say Cebu and Bohol, siguro another 10% for Sara Duterte. But yeah, it does mirror the actual population of the Philippines across all age groups, across all demographics, age, socioeconomic, geography, and the like. No? So, meron tayong ginagamit na formula dyan.
Okay.
Robin, have you seen this particular pattern of behavior when it comes to voting? Because I'm looking at it already. Ito na yung behavioral ng isang voter, di ba? Behavior ng isang voter. Have you seen this kind before in the past, historically? Somebody's already in the limelight, for political persecution, as critics would call it. Pero, tumataas pa rin. Or what has changed?
Yeah.
Culturally, is there any difference now?
Actually, ang sagot ko dyan, Ricky, is we also have a very crucial statistic. No? May tinatawag tayong hard voters and soft voters. Basically, we asked, kung magbabago pa bang utak mo come election day or in the next few months. 60% of all of the voters nationwide and the voters of Sara Duterte are not anymore going to change their minds. So may
Hard
may
na sila.
variability na 40%. Hard voters na sila. So dyan din ang gagaling yung stability nung 30+% ng base ng mga Duterte. And if you look at it further, although we don't release this data to the public, medyo sa amin lang sa mga subscribers namin, if you compare the number of hard voters, mas mababa na doon sa ibang factions.
What do you mean?
For instance, kay Marcos, kasi kay Sara Duterte, 60% hindi na magbabago utak. So yung intensity ng support mataas.
Mataas, yeah.
Pero for Marcos, a liberal progressive faction, maka nasa ano lang, 30%, 40% lang.
Hindi
So
sila.
mas marami sa kanilang soft voters. Hindi nila ma-solidify yung base nila. Maliit na nga, hindi pa ma-solidify, right? So I think across all factions, if they really want to beat si Vice President Sara Duterte, the first step is to convince your current supporters to not anymore change their minds, diba? To
Yeah.
harden.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then you convince other people na from other camps to support you. That's a challenge of other factions. For the Dutertes, sabi mo kayo, historic ano natin, nakikita natin yung 10-year run kasi from 2016 to 2026 na yung you know, in sa political science may tinatawag tayong yung prevailing ideational structure. Kumbaga, malakas yung support for Dutertismo, no? And what the ideas that it represents. It's not just in Mindanao. Tingnan natin even across age groups and even across other places in across the Philippines, in Visayas and even Luzon. Competitive din kasi si Vice President Sara sa Luzon and NCR, no? So may around 20% siya. Mas mataas ng konti yung ibang kandidato sa rest of Luzon, kasi taga Luzon naman si Lenny, si Mayor Lenny, no? Pero competitive pa rin si Vice President Sara Duterte. So yan yung siguro yung sagot ko lang dyan sa behavior. Na mukhang since 2016, ang taas nung support talaga sa Duterte ideas.
The
no?
hard,
Yeah.
hard.
But
Hardcore.
we're not endorsing
Hardcore.
anyone kami.
Yeah.
We're just looking at the data. No? We're just scientists. And yan yung nakikita namin sa data namin.
I was wondering, Robin, would it make sense? Will the opposition have a better fighting chance if they consolidated their candidate? Kasi ito parang except for Bongo, all the rest are known as opposition. I mean, you know, who oppose VP Sara. Lenny, Raffy Tulfo, Bam Aquino, and Risa Ontiveros. So si Bongo lang, no, ang alam natin affiliated. So kung bumalik tayo sa two-party system or isa lang, talaga, dalawa lang ang ating mga kandidato bilang President at Vice President, mas malaki ba ang chance nun? Mas magiging,
Tama po.
Paano yung labanan? Oo.
Tama po. Actually, yan yung problema. So it's structurally, it's a structural constraint
Yeah.
that presidential candidates in the Philippines are not able to consolidate easily unless they do so voluntarily. No, so for instance, even 2022, nag-splinter into four yung opposition, di ba? Isko, Lenny, Pacquiao, Lacson. Tapos si Duterte and Marcos nag-unite. But that's because they felt that it was a good decision to unite.
Yeah.
But yun na nga. So that's something that the faction, sabi nyo nga, yung liberal opposition faction will need to overcome even before they create a coalition with the Marcoses. Diba? So yung Unipink nga sinasabi ng mga tao, yun yung ginagamit naming term. Kasi within the liberal faction, nag-aaway din eh.
Yeah.
Diba? So people criticizing each other publicly. And within the Marcos faction, of course, you know that there's also some infighting. So before you even consolidate, you need to, yung sabi nyo nga kanina, yung two-party system, within the two-party system kasi, merong tinatawag na primaries. So mag-decision muna kayo, sino ang standard bearer ninyo? Ang front-runner, no? So instead of you criticize each other publicly. So that's something that they will need to do. But ang nakita natin, pwedeng maging competitive yung coalition na yan kung mabuo. Right? Kung mabuo yung coalition ng Unipink, kung suportahan ng administration, let's say si Lenny Robredo or even Bam Aquino, competitive yan. And it will be an interesting 2028 race if that's the case.
Oo. Kasi I was thinking parang at the most dapat 3 candidates lang you have the administration, you have the opposition, and then an independent. Para lang 'di ba? Hindi yung watak-watak na ang dami-dami, yung mga iba ginagawang fundraising ang pagtatakbo nila. Okay.
Binabago. Pero
Oo.
alam mo, tingnan mo,
Totoo yan.
Di ba? Oo.
Ito, I'm just being elementary about it ha. Dinagdag ko, I computed yung ni Sara, ni VP Sara, she got 39.4. Dinagdag ko kay Bongo, 3.6. They got 43%. Kahit idagdag ko yung tatlong contenders sila from the opposition, it just adds up to 37.2. So medyo talagang may
Kulang.
laki pa rin yung pagkakaibala. And then the 17% to undecided, depende na kung paano nila isasway yung votes. So parang ngayon, parang ang hirap pa rin tibagin nga ng Duterte
Medyo
brand.
stable
Oo,
ngayon
oo,
ang votes na ni Sara. And actually, siya talaga dapat yung standard bearer, no? Kasi sa iba, wala standard bearer disarray pa Siya, clearly, susuportahan siya ng tao, tapos nag-announce na siya.
Yeah.
And that is an important factor. Kasi may tinatawag tayong rallying effect Umakyat yung numbers mo kapag sigurado, nakita ng tao, sigurado ka at decidido ka. No? So they rally behind you. So, yun na nga, makikita natin if makukonvince itong mga hindi pa sigurado in the next few months.
My last question, Robin, is how about for vice presidential candidate?
Okay.
Meron
VP.
bang mga, sino ang nakikitang magiging partner ni VP Sara? Kukunin ba niya si Bongo? O sige, if you can share with us for VP
So we
naman.
also have a list of 6. No, the top 2, and they're statistically tied, are Robin Padilla and Senator Bongo. 21% for Robin Padilla. Senator Bongo has 20%.
Oh.
And then the others include si Grace Poe at 14%. Bama Quinos is competitive. He has a double-digit rating here at 10%.
Oh.
And then Risa Ontiveros, 8%. Kiko Pangilinan, 7.1%. The vice presidency is a more open field. So more fluid and open field. No? I-release namin itong picture na to for the vice presidency this week. But that's what we see, no? Hindi pa sigurado, almost the same at 18.2%. But we saw an upward. We also see an upward trend for Robin Padilla and Bongo. They both increased significantly by around 8% and 9% respectively. No, 9% kasi Robin Padilla. So competitive yan. So hindi natin alam kung sino ang magiging pipiliin ni Sara Duterte.
May follow-up question lang there is except for 2022 no na nag-unite si BBM at saka VP Sara na after 1 year na-disunite na sila. The past presidential elections, Ninoy Aquino, his VP was Jojo Binay na hindi niya kaalyado. Sa panahon ni Duterte, ang kanyang VP was Leni Robredo na hindi rin kaalyado. Sa 2028, do you think ngayon na kung si VP Sara, yung kanyang vice president rin ang mananalo, kumbaga same party or ano pa rin yan, malabo na mangyari talaga?
Well, pwede naman, no? Potentially, pwedeng botohin din na same party na Duterte faction din. But as you said, I think mas hindi tayo assured na mangyayari yan sa VP kasi maraming competitive na candidates din, no? But nakita nyo ngayon na magkakaiba. Pwedeng iba yung manalo for 2020.
I have so many questions pa nga for Robin. Kasi like for example, yung katukayo
Wala pa tayong
mo.
Senate.
Yung katukayo mo, yung senador. Nagulat ka ba sa top 12 na lumabas sa senatorial
Well,
balls?
nag-number 1 na siya, si Robin Padilla. Nag-number 1 na siya dati.
Senator
Oo. So, and I think ang Duterte faction likes him very much. Kasi yung question is, pwede kasing maraming gusto yung faction ng Duterte, right? Iba-iba, diba? Pwede si Bongo, pwede si Robin Padilla. Pero mukhang competitive siya. Both men actually, did very well in terms of their senatorial bids. The recent senatorial bids. So very competitive silang dalawa. Pero yan, kung mapili ni Vice President Sara Duterte si Robin Padilla, maganda rin yung chance. Pero dapat may unite yung mga ibang kandidato kung hindi sila napili.
Ito, may naisip lang ako last. Kung sakali ma-impeach si VP Sara, 'di ba? So she will be barred from running for public office. Who do you think can be a good replacement for the opposition? So it will be Bongo or Robin Padilla? Aangat kaya sila?
That's a very difficult question to answer dahil
Oh.
pwedeng umangat sila kasi meron din the Duterte brothers, di ba?
Oh.
Sila Sebastian Pulong,
Oh.
pwede rin yan.
Oh.
And then of course Robin Padilla Bongo and others, and even si Marcoleta, pwede rin yan. So there are many competitive candidates within the Duterte faction as we see in our data.
Okay, nako, very interesting, Robin. We will have you back soon if you have another survey
Sige
out
po.
there.
O, hindi nga natin natanong yung SONA,
Yung
yung
sa
kanyang
SONA pa,
post-SONA.
oo.
Siguro very quickly lang. Okay, very quickly because we don't have time
SONA.
anymore. Your take on the President's past SONA?
Well, I thought that the SONA of the president was adequate, pero may mga kulang pa rin sa akin. May mga important, meaningful moments si President Marcos doon, no? Yung first part, yung about the former speaker, and then yung huli sa West Philippine Sea, sa gitna, yung very, what some may call an economic populist speech. But, I think that's too much. I think it's more about parang people-centered, human-centered economic policy in the context of being in the middle of a twin crisis of inflation and energy. I thought it was adequate in terms of policy, pero parang nakulangan ako doon sa vision pa. Kasi yung bagong Pilipinas, parang hollow pa siya para sa akin dahil hindi naman dinefine niya kung anong ibig sabihin ng lumang Pilipinas tsaka bagong Pilipinas, di ba? Ano yung grand vision mo? Di ba? Ano yung aspirational vision mo for the country? I thought that was not
Lacking.
substantiated. And nakikita ko rin, hinanap ko rin yan last year and the year before. But the speech was adequate. And I, as a geek, as a nerd, as a policy analyst, no, I really liked yung very granular and nuanced na policy recommendations niya doon sa economic crisis. So,
Granular. Okay. Sige, Robin. So you're coming back soon, hopefully.
And live.
Live. Oo.
I'll see you